and welcome to Good Emma's Kitchen with me, Katie. This year we are celebrating International Women's Day 2025 with 6 amazing women from different industries. I can't wait to get started with our cook-alongs. It's going to be so much fun. We're not just cooking with 6 different women in business, we are cooking across the globe, heading to all sorts of countries to really invigorate you and entice you and inspire you to cook along with us. The recipes and the ingredients are all available over on Instagram on my stories, so please do cook along with us, get involved and feel inspired as we celebrate International Women's Day 2025 with a bang. There are 6 cook-alongs for you to enjoy with either brunch, lunch or dinner each week. I really hope you enjoy this series. I've loved making it and I've loved cooking along. Hello and welcome again for our 5th cook-along for International Women's Day 2025. You are in for a treat today as we cook brunch with the amazing Sam Parsons. Her story is incredible. She is super inspiring. I cannot wait to chat to her and for you all to meet her. Are you ready to cook along? I will see you in a sec. Morning and welcome to Good Emma's Kitchen with me, Katie. This is our 5th guest in the series for International Women's Day 2025 as we learn how different women across different industries have been accelerating action in their work, and I cannot wait to invite the guest we have got on today. Today we are welcoming a delightful guest. She owns and runs Winchester Pilates, Sam Parsons. Good morning.
Good morning, Katie. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. It's really great to have you. Have you got all your ingredients all ready to cook with me?
I do. I've sort of got a bit of a fear that I've lost something. We're going to get to something and I won't have it, but I've double checked and I think I've got everything.
I am the queen of forgetting my own recipes because I write them and then I also use what's in the fridge and left over. So things can get muddled my end. Add a bit of menopausal brain in there and you're in good, safe, kind company this morning. And I believe you've already been up and at it and already been teaching this morning. Is that right?
Sorry, I had a phone call come in.
You've already been up for teaching this morning, is that right?
That's right. We start on a Monday morning, bright and early, full class at 7 o'clock. Yeah, I think the sun helps a little bit. So everybody was very bright and perky this morning.
It is lovely, although it's a bit chilly and I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so hence the scarf to keep me nice and warm. But I'm going to ask you some questions in just a minute and chat to you all about your business. But first, we're just going to make a quick guacamole-esque, what you've got in the fridge dish. So I've got half an avocado in a bowl and I'm just going to mash it. If you've got a whizzer or a NutriBullet or a blender, you can quite happily use a blender, but I just thought we'd just mash it up in a bowl this morning. Today we are also using 2-in-1 olive oil, which is my preferred olive oil of choice. With Spanish heritage. It tastes delicious, it's nice and local, it supports the local family, so I love it. I'm just going to mash up my avocado, a tablespoon, I say. I've also got half a chilli. You can add as much or as little as you like. The best way I find to get rid of the seeds, because I don't want it too hot, it is brunch, I don't want to blow my head off too quickly, is I just scoop it out with a spoon, and then let it stop. If you like a bit of heat, you're going to add some more chili into our actual dish. So I'm being a bit more mindful about how much I'm using. I'm just really thin, small slices. We're going to dice it up nice and small. So it goes into the guacamole nice and evenly, but also you don't just get a massive hit of chili. We're thinking about those sensories and a nice mouthful of everything rather than one big hit of chili or no chili at all and just avocado. So we're just going to put that up and put it into the bowl. We're also going to make a nice piece of prawn with that. Oh, hopefully I'm not going too fast for you, Sam.
I'm doing my best. I am chopping nice and quickly.
a classic Asian dish. I mean, literally, I've just got chili, avocado, and coriander with some olive oil in the bowl. And I'm also going to add a bit of salt. And we're just going to mix that up and grate in some garlic. So it's really easy. If you don't have garlic, don't add it. If you haven't got chili, don't worry. You could add just dry chili flakes is fine, or a pinch of chili powder is fine. Make dishes work for you. We're going to add in half a squeeze of lime as well to zing it up a bit. And I'm just going to grate in. Probably, I've got quite a big garlic today, so I'm probably just going to add in maybe a quarter or half of a smidge of garlic. And this is all about gut friendly, supportive. It's all anti-inflammatory. It's all going to support you for the start of your day. I've skipped breakfast for a brunch to have it with Sam today. But as you know, she's already been eating this morning. So, Sam, I wanted to ask you, from what I've read, you were a professional horse rider and then have started this amazing Pilates business. So what inspired you to go from horse riding into Pilates and run your business?
So I used to love riding horses. I started riding horses at a very, very young age. I'm trying to find my grater. That's the problem with this, isn't it? Like, it's going to make a lot of noise while I'm doing that. But I've got it. So I started riding at the age of 5.
Yeah.
Loved it. I was in South Africa at the time, and rode competitively from a very young age. We then moved to South America when I was 10. Moved on to horses. And then I represented Chile when I was there, and met my husband, who was a diplomat. So we started to travel, and it became increasingly difficult to continue riding professionally. I had children, and still rode. And in my life, I've broken my back twice. And the second time, with horses. And the second time, the physio said, "Look, you need to look after yourself, and you should try Pilates." And I didn't think it would be much of anything, and it's absolutely extraordinary. It's changed my life, and I am where I am today because of Pilates, and that's what inspired me to get started. And it's just grown from there.
Amazing. Right, I think riding for Pilates for me, I think is require quite similar things. But my daughter rides, I don't. But from what I've worked out, I've done a bit of Pilates. Balance, strength, and quite a lot of control are needed from what I can tell from both. So what would you say you've brought from a rider into running a Pilates business that is inspired you, kind of the approach to movement? Has it kind of impacted or influenced your approach to movement, that riding to Pilates kind of transition?
I would say it's the other way around. I think, people with horses are quite complacent in the way they move and ride, thinking that, yes, you need some core, but it's more about the horse. You're so involved with the horse that really riders often don't think about themselves and neglect themselves. And people tend to spend money on their horses, not on themselves. And I was one of those. So I think it kind of works the other way around. It's revelationary when you come to Pilates to see what you can feed back into any sport you do, whether that's riding or running or tennis or walking.
Amazing. I'm gonna keep talking, but have you got a bit of a leak? I've got a whole leak. A bit of a leak. We're going to I call it making a bridge. So it means that you can safely put your hand through the knife and draw it back out again, down the middle, because we don't want to cut on an uneven surface. So we cut it in half and then we lay it flat. So it's a nice flat surface and it's safe. And then you just slice it nice and thinly. And we're going to add this into our main bridge. We're going to make a big glitter. If we're thinking inside, we call it a pakora. If I'm making it as a main dish, if I'm not making it for brunch, if I'm making it for lunch or dinner, I would add chickpea flour into this and make it much heavier, more like a kind of veggie burger. But for a morning or brunch, it's really nice to add just veggies and egg and spices together. That goes into a bowl that we're going to mix the egg into. And we're going to grate in a carrot as well.
So what inspired you, Katie, to start this?
Well, lots of different things. I had a lovely granny who always had a notebook with rotation of her garden of cooking from seasons, and I assumed everyone lived like that growing up. We didn't live with her, but I spent quite a lot of time with her. My mum had like 3 jobs, and I thought everyone did that. So I became a mum really early and young in life, and I carried on cooking and feeding and growing like that, assuming that's what you did. I quickly realised that wasn't the case, but I loved teaching, and I taught for quite a long time. It was just a natural progression into life, but I got really sick around COVID. I've always had a lung disease, which I was really poorly with all my life, and on steroids all my life. But what I didn't realise was the steroids were making me sick with arthritis and osteoporosis, and my hips weren't really working very well. So I had a big operation to try and fix it. And then I got very bad COVID and perpetual pneumonia, and I needed to think outside the box. And at the time I was studying my nutrition and my horticultural science kind of in tandem. And I wanted to use myself as my case study to pass my nutrition qualifications. So I did it alongside a doctor in London who agreed to see me and listen to my ranting and my woes, and also support me through my nutrition. So I did use myself, and I found that actually by eating anti-inflammatory foods and more gut friendly and working out what aligns with me and building a really positive, grounded relationship with food, actually I could make myself well again. And I haven't been on steroids for nearly 3 years.
Fantastic. What a fantastic success story.
It's amazing. It has left me quite weak with the steroids and with trying to rehabilitate. So I'm really interested. My relationship with movement is quite emotive because I was quite poorly with it, and I haven't had the use of movement as much as I would like. So trying to learn how to keep my core and my hip joints supported, to have that rotation, to have that movement, to be able to do all those things is my next steps, because I've done with the healing with the food, and I know how that supportive it can be. But I also know, especially with hormonal stages, that actually it needs to be more in tandem with movement and strength. And that's where I'm now ready to move forward into this, learning how to support myself through movement and overcoming my emotion side of it, because the emotion, or the historical emotion, really stops me from being accountable in movement regularly. So I'm really interested to understand more about rehabilitation that you kind of lean into with your Pilates, and how you have found Pilates supportive with rehabilitation your clients or rehabilitation in yourself.
Understood. And I think, one of the things I'm passionate about is how closely related food and movement is to the overall feeling of well-being. And both are equally important. People understand the importance of movement, introduce movements into their life, different, exercises, or just better, maybe even walking, and then don't understand why they don't feel better. And I think what's fascinating is the new research that's coming into the gut microbiome.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
So the future of that link between the brain and the gut is just fascinating.
It all travels through that vagus nerve, and when our brain is 60% protein, so we need to get as much of it in as we can, but also the constant signals and chatting that goes from the gut to the brain and back down, and how it's used through the vagus nerve to be able to do it is really interesting. So if you have strength or mobility issues, you're using movement to support you, really helps digestion. It really helps the signals to be stronger.
It's not just about eating well. You have to be able to move well as well, and vice versa. We're just going to chop our mushrooms at the same time and put them into the bowl.
Yeah. No, and I think it's what's fascinating is if we eat well, we've got so much more to give in our movement. And it's also about the timing of your meals. It's not only about what you eat, it's about when you eat it, and also the combination thereof of whether, your carbs and your protein. There's a huge fad about eating lots of protein to be strong. But it is not about eating protein on its own. It's the combination of your grains and your protein. And people are still quite fearful of, eating carbs because it was such a taboo. But it's your energy.
What they do in your body and what you do with that energy that you've put in. And we're made up of so much energy that I think the more people can have that knowledge and understanding of how they're using their energy, how they're moving their bodies, what they're fueling their bodies with, the more they'll be able to make mindful and impactful changes that are lasting and supportive to be their best. Because you don't want to be someone else's best. Your body is made up slightly differently to everybody else's body. So understanding how it works and how it can work best for you is, I think, what we're both trying to achieve in individually or together in our own businesses, isn't it?
Well, and we haven't even touched on mental health.
No, not even. We haven't even got there yet.
No, crikey,
If your relationship with food has changed from riding to Pilates, from being in that wellness-based business, from breaking wheel back twice and having to rehabilitate, there is a huge mental health side of it, which I really want to touch on. But also, has your relationship with food changed over that time? Now you're in this kind of wellness space more and more.
To be honest, it's a massive confession to make on a public site, but I've got a very interesting background with my relationship with food. And I had anorexia bulimia as a teenager. And that was my control at that time. Very common for teenagers because that's the only way they feel they can control their lives is through food. And it is so common.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of teenagers because there's lots of these things that come up. But their life is very controlled by time, by school, by schedules, and there isn't a sense of control that they will often have, and so often they can lean into food or different addictions because of that sense of lack of control. I totally hear that.
And so I came out the other side of that because I realized that I couldn't perform the way I needed to perform. And I had big goals in life. So luckily I had that drive to get me out of a terrible, terrible illness. And then still didn't have a healthy relationship with food because food was as and when I could eat it, if I could eat it. I just did not eat well at all. And that has come much, much later on. I am now a hybrid athlete, which means it's a mixture sort of running and strength. I do high rocks. I do trail running, I do obstacle course racing, which is just crazy for a woman looking down the barrel of 50. But you know what? I am fitter and healthier than I have ever been. And I can put that down. Of course, I train well and I understand movement, but it is that link with food that has changed my life.
It does.
Without doubt.
Having a positive, a strong relationship with food is transformational. You're testament to it, I'm testament to it, and it's a huge part of why I teach it, being able to work with people to build that good relationship with food and explore what their goals are and to reach their best. I mean, you are complete testament to that, from having one side of relationship with food and one type of life and then going into a wellness industry, changing that later on in life and being able to train and to succeed in such a magnitude way. I mean, I'm in awe of it. Please, so if you want to put chili into your main dish, then just finely dice a bit. I've got a bit of green chili here that I've got from the freezer, actually. We are moving soon, so we are using up freezer mode. But also, I also think that the freezer should be thought of as a bit of a best friend. It's a supportive space to use. If you use it well, actually you don't need to worry about having much in. You can always use things in the freezer. The rest of the meat can be chopped up in the freezer garlic, ginger can be chucked in the freezer. Fruit that's not being used can be chopped up, chucked in the freezer. There's so many ways that the freezer can be supportive. So I always put my chilies in.
I think I'm one step behind you. Have you got onion in there?
No, I haven't got onion in there yet. I've got leek, carrot, chili, mushrooms. I had a bit of leftover cabbage that I chucked in, and I've got.
That's what I missed. I wonder what the white was.
You don't need anything. I'm using up. I've got a bit of old. You can see how old it is. It's not a very happy onion the other day. That's going into.
Okay. And it doesn't matter whether it's red or white onion.
Yeah, whatever's in season, whatever you've got, it's all about using up. And these are great dishes. You could do 2 tracks of this, and you could have some for brunch, and then you could have the rest mixed in with a bit of chickpea flour, and make it a bit bigger and fry it off and have it as a burger for later with a salad on the side or something. It would be really nice. So I've just got all of my ingredients in there. We're using some cumin. We've got a teaspoon of cumin going in, nice warming fire, and we've got the tar. It's more of a Middle Eastern. It's kind of a blend of oregano, thyme, toasted sesame, and sumac, which is like a berry that's dried, and it's got a tangy, lemony taste to it. I love the tar. It's really, really nice in this dish. So I've got a good teaspoon of that going into. And then I'm just going to add another bit of fresh coriander in. You can never have enough fresh herbs. If you've got parsley, use parsley. If you want a bit of mint in there or a bit of dill, you can put in any sort of herb.
So, Katie, tell me, I have a lot of lovely spices. Do you know Russell Hoot? I have Dakar. I have now got Za'atar. It's quite difficult to have the confidence to know what to use up you have a recipe like today, which is great.
Yeah.
And I've got this lovely Za'atar, and then I think, okay, well, what do I do with it now? So
I would use it this morning. I would make scrambled eggs and I'd put some Za'atar in it, or I'd put some fresh herbs in it. I would like we're doing today. I would use it in it. I would use it on meat if I was doing some barbecue or some barbecue pork. It goes really nice with, like a nice rub. It goes on a lamb really nicely. You could mix it with yogurt, paprika, and some lemon, and mix it on some chicken or some tofu. There's lots of different ways. You could use it just with veg in a pot and make a really nice Moroccan spice stew with some roasted veggies and some chickpeas, and then maybe some rice on top would work, or some couscous. It's all about layering flavour, and actually every ingredient that we've used in here, you could easily chop it and put it in the oven with the same ingredients and maybe some fresh tomatoes or a can of tomatoes, and make a really nice easy tray bake. And then you could bake some fish on top. There are so many ways to use the same things we do, but chopping them in different ways and using different ways of heating them to get a different dish, using exactly the same ingredients as we've done now.
How exciting. Love it.
I'm really, really passionate about getting confidence in the kitchen. And if you've got spice, or you've got loads of meat, or you've got, something in your cupboard that you're not using, being able to work with me to learn how to build different flavors, confident in the kitchen with lots of different dishes using those same ingredients, is really important. I don't want anyone to have spices in there for 6 months to 3 years doing absolutely nothing. It's part of our anti-inflammatory, gut-friendly diet. It really supports us being able to have a variety in our diet. Our microbiome really likes variety. So the more we can get in, the better. And I'm all for eating as in season as possible. So in your dish, I just want you to crack your eggs in. And we're going to add a little bit of salt. And we're going to add some oil to the pan. We're just going to move it through. Fork. So I've got all my eggs and veggies in this dish here. And we're just going to give it a really nice good. It smells delicious. It's fragrant. You can smell the spices coming through. It's just enticing, as in it's vibrant to look at. My senses are connecting, my brain's connecting with that. It's just a lovely way of making a really nice brunch. Great for the weekend. You could put, we're not doing that today, but you could put a poached egg on top maybe if you wanted to, as a bit of extra luxury. You could also have it really nice topped with kimchi or sauerkraut as a bit of a fermented, gut-friendly, supported thing. You could do that on top. So I'm just mixing mine in, as you can see, just to whisk in the egg a bit, bind it together, and this will make more than one. It depends on how hungry you are. You could make a few and lay them up, but we're just going to get some olive oil in the pan with your heat on. We're going to mix it up before we really add anything into it. So International Women's Day is all about accelerating action this year. So how do you empower your clients, like especially women, to be their future friend? Because you talk about that sort of future-proofing your body, and so how do you kind of empower and engage your people you're working with to kind of do that with confidence?
I think a lot of people come in with a slight degree of apprehension that, especially those who haven't been moving a lot recently, they come in with a degree of apprehension that they're not going to be good enough, and that there's an expectation, you know, I suppose a bit from the old aerobics days where you would go in and you would do classes where there was lots of coordination and you'd be completely out of sync and you'd feel, you know, completely out of depth, and you just think this isn't for me. And what we do is just so simple and so achievable for anybody and everybody, that people realize quite quickly that it's not even about the people next to them. It's about them and their own bodies.
Absolutely.
But what we do is you learn so much about tuning into your body. So it's your breathing, it's how to connect in through your core. And that in itself is so takes up so much of your mind that you just come in and you just end up having an hour of time to yourself, and you learn so much about yourself that you come out and you just feel invigorated.
Absolutely. So much about breath and how empowering and impactful learning to breathe in your own body and to connect to your body and just sort of almost dumb out what's around you, to be really empowering and impactful. It's been quite a learning curve for me along this journey too.
Breath is phenomenal and cannot be underestimated how important it is. Most of us are living on fast forward all the time, and we don't realize how much we just breathe, you know, very high, shallow breathing. And that just means that we're not oxygenating the body. The body ends up with a lot of tension that then, you know, comes up into your mind as well, or vice versa. And just learning how to breathe in itself is the start of a whole new journey of learning to tune into your body and feeling just more relaxed.
Absolutely. So turn your heat down. Your pan's nice and hot now, and we're just going to add it in stages. So this will probably make two quite happily. So I'm just going to add half of mine to my dish, and I'm just patting it down with my fork or spoon just to connect it to make sure that it sticks together. And the egg will do that for you, and as it fries. A little bit of salt if you'd like, and then we move it to fry off and let it stick and connect together. We've got a plate here. I've got a mix of lamb's lettuce and spinach because that's what we had in the fridge. And as I said, I really am. Lamb's lettuce is brilliant in the winter and spring. It tastes delicious. It's really gentle, and it's a nice mix with spinach. It's got different texture and slightly different taste. I put it up on the plate, and then I'm going to add my guacamole that I've made as well. So I'm going to add some of this, just add onto the dish. So it's going to sit on a bed of spinach and guacamole. It's cooking is, I find cooking and Pilates quite similar in the sort of, it's quite mindful. Would you agree that there's kind of a mindful similarity and how food integrates with the kind of mindful intention, like you're saying, with the breathing and the digestion and the connection that you need to make with Pilates and food? I find there's quite a similarity.
Well, it just it takes your mind off. I think if you don't focus on what you're doing, you make such a mess of it. It's what I find. And so it demands for you to focus on what you're doing at that time.
Yeah.
Which is, and like you say, the community aspect of it as well. You know, you can do this with your family. And I love that part of cooking. I think it's very social, and I think it brings people together. I think it's a topic of conversation. And, you know, much the same with movement and exercise, you know, getting people together, families to walk or to go hiking, or, you know, during the week, on the weekend, maybe you go to a pub, you walk to a pub, or you go explore new parts in the UK. You don't even need to go abroad. It can be as simple as that.
Connecting, isn't it? And it definitely brings people together. Please, now you can just flip it like this, round on one side, and we're just going to do the other side. Again, if you want to season this side, please do with a little bit of salt or pepper. We've got seasoning in our guacamole with the lime and the salt and the chili, so I haven't put any extra on this side. So as I ask in all of my live cook-alongs for International Women's Day, because we are talking about the impact that women have on the industry and how they connect to, you know, how much they give to the economy, and we are quite impactful without people realising it. What impact or legacy are you hoping to pass on? Whether it's to members of your family, whether it's your friends, maybe you're trying to impact your community, or maybe you're trying to branch out and grow your business in some way. What does that sort of impact and passing the baton on look like for you?
For me, it's very much a balance of health and well-being. So it's empowering people to believe in themselves. I think particularly for women of, you know, our age, where we're looking at sort of perimenopause, menopause, post-menopause, people often give up and think that, you know, they may have put on some weight, or maybe their joints ache, or there's small things in life where they think that they're too old to get started, or maybe this is the natural progression of getting older. And it's not. I want to leave that legacy of helping people believe in themselves, whether they're overcoming injury, illness, whether they're getting older, or whether they're simply younger and insecure. Because I find that with the younger girls as well, sometimes with so much pressure from social media, they're very insecure in themselves.
Absolutely.
And finding themselves. I had a lovely, lovely girl on the weekend, a couple, and she used to play lacrosse and netball up to a high level, and she's had cancer very young, in her early 20s.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a bit behind you. I needed to turn my heat up.
No, it's fine.
And she's had chemotherapy, lost all her confidence, has chronic fatigue now. And she came on in the weekend, and watching her smile as she learnt what she was supposed to be doing on that reformer, she got better and better throughout the hour. And her partner said it's the first time she's seen her smile and believe in herself since she first got diagnosed with cancer.
It's so impactful.
Honestly, it makes me emotional, and I love it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to give to people.
Well, I think we're both in the same boat, because we're both trying to create, be inspiring, support, and make change and impact in that wellness space with that link between food and movement, whether it's me with gut health and gut movement, or whether it's you in physical kind of strength and movement. I think there's so much more work to be done, and hopefully more women like us are striving forwards into that business and into that area to be able to feel seen and heard in it, because we do make a big contribution to the economy and to the world and to our communities, and sometimes we're just not heard or shouting enough for it. So I'm all up for it. I've got my second one in the pan.
Okay.
just because I wanted to use it up, and I like it because I can take them with me. So if I wanted it later on, they're great for on the go cold. They work really well. You can just chop up and stick it in a Tupperware and take it with you. And then you've already always got something to hand that's a better choice than something else when you've got nothing and you're starving or you're cranky and you're stuck in a car or whatever it is you're doing, going to an appointment. Having something on hand is really great. So it's nice to have an extra one while you're cooking as well. And then you can take it with you. So that's mine. I'm just going to flip my second one. It smells amazing. My kitchen smells amazing, so hopefully yours does too. But that is an easy Indian and Middle Eastern inspired brunch for you to enjoy. You could easily put a fried or poached egg on top of that if you wanted to. That would work really nicely. But thank you so much for chatting to me. I like to do something every time I cook with someone, and that's to introduce this pause, eat and reflect. You pause when you've made a meal just to kind of give thanks and realize that you've taken the time out to nourish yourself, to make a good decision, to connect with your relationship with food, and to really fuel yourself in the way that you intend to do. And then you eat, and when you eat, you invite all your senses to really connect with that brain and gut through that vagus nerve, all the different colors, all the different textures, and just really enjoy all those flavors. Take time over eating, that slow eating mode. And then you reflect just as a delayed self-gratification, self-value, self-love. So I think sometimes we forget, we're so forward thinking, we're so fast, we're so on to the next thing that sometimes we forget just to pause for ourselves. So sometimes when you've got a moment in the day, when you've made a meal, whatever meal it is, that pause, eat and reflect is a really nice way to just take a minute. So hopefully you are nearly there with your finishing, and we can,
Mine doesn't look quite as nice as yours. I'm going to tip it off, but it's not far off. It's delicious. It looks delicious.
Thank you so much for coming to chat to me all about, you are so accelerating action in your business. You have made immeasurable impact on other people's lives. I can't wait to try it myself. I will be definitely trying one of your new sessions. I know you've got some sessions coming up, haven't you? Some new sessions for Easter and ahead into May.
That's right. So we're always adding new classes depending on what people are asking for. We have an amazing instructor, Ashley. We love her. She's got such a load of experience. She's a specialist in rehab facilitation, so she's such a huge asset. She's starting a new class on Thursday from the beginning of April.
Yeah.
And we are starting a 4-week reformer course for beginners, on Tuesday evenings for the whole month of May. If anybody's interested, please come along to just have a look at www.winchesterpilates.co.uk, or just Google Winchester Pilates if you can't remember that and don't have a pen.
I will put up when I repost it, it gets reposted. I'll put up all the details. If you'd like to get in touch with Sam or with her team, or join a class that's upcoming, or join a course that's upcoming, you absolutely can. And good. I am definitely going to be on that list, and to get my butt into gear and get my relationship with movement a bit more solid.
Fantastic. So exciting.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of the week. And I will speak to you soon. Enjoy your delicious.
I can't wait to try. Starving.
See you soon.
Thanks, Katie.
Bye.
Thank you so much for cooking along with us. International Women's Day is really important, and Sam Parsons, head of Winchester Pilates, is a really important and inspiring part of this journey. I hope you enjoyed the brunch. You can find the recipes and the details below, and I cannot wait to cook with you again.